Did you know that the US government just bought a 10% stake in Intel? I know it's unpopular, but I'm getting kind of sick of pretending like this stuff is good because Trump did it. And this is one of those weird scenarios where it's like, it's a good thing from a bad thing, but it's still overall not good. I'll explain. First of all, the government has taken stakes in private enterprise in a number of different occasions, but it's usually specifically in a high emergency scenario. And you could suggest that the chips manufacturing process and the fact that Taiwan Semiconductor and overseas companies kind of control the entire market, I understand that. And it's great that Intel is an American company and all, but this is blurring the lines between free market capitalism, private enterprise, and the government, and that is not good. And anybody that understands on the right would be freaking out if Biden or Kamala Harris did this exact same thing. Now, I'll admit that the way that they are framing it is crafty. They're basically saying that, well, a big percentage of this money was going to be given to Intel anyways in the form of grants or whatever else, like as promised in the CHIPS and Science Act. But now we actually are retaining equity as opposed to just giving them the money for free. But that's where the problem is in the first place. We shouldn't be giving any company grants like that. We shouldn't be doing that. The taxpayer is not responsible for giving a grant to a private company that has shareholders and profits and all of these people that are to make a ton of money off of this. The government's job is not to meddle in free market capitalism. It's not to meddle in free enterprise. It's not to meddle in a company that has private shareholders, especially considering that it can put its thumb on the scale to maybe knock out any other American company that was potentially going to get into this market. If there was some other company like Intel that competed in this marketplace in the US, how would they compete when they know that the government could change some rule or some law or make it unfavorable for them to succeed because it holds an equity position in that company? And in the event that this company continues to benefit and continues to profit, all of the shareholders of Intel are going to profit as well. All of the individual citizens are going to profit as well. If a company can't stand on its own two legs without $10 billion or whatever it is from the taxpayer, does it deserve to exist? And again, I understand that this is better than just giving them the money for free. Obviously, that's a bad thing. Yes, we hold an equity position, which means that the taxpayer, the government, whatever, essentially shares in the potential gains of it, but it could also lose. And what it really comes down to is, like I said, we shouldn't be giving grants to these companies anyways. And is it better that we hold an equity position as opposed to nothing at all? Yes, of course it is. But there's a metaphor for this. It's when the camel sticks its nose under the tent. When a small, seemingly innocuous action leads to a much larger action. The camel sticks its nose under the tent to gain warmth, and then each day, as each night gets cold, it puts more and more of its body into the tent for warmth until it takes over the entire tent. Setting the precedent to rescue and or invest money in Intel because of some reason just means that what other companies does it choose to invest in or to not invest in? I will admit it's a complicated thing, and like I said, the way that it's being framed, I can understand how people will be like, yeah, but it's just a symptom of a much larger problem. And now you have Donnie, here's his tweet about it. The US government controls 10% of Intel. They negotiated with Lip-Bu Tan, the CEO, who is highly respected, right? This was today. And he says the US paid nothing for these shares and they're valued at $11 billion. Well, that's not true. We did pay for those shares. The money went in there. And yes, it would have otherwise gone in the form of grants or just being handed to them. So this is better than nothing. But not even a month ago on 8/7, he says that the CEO must resign. Well, don't you think that this type of comment might be a little bit more influential when you own a 10% stake in the business? Essentially being shaken down, bullied, whatever, popularized that you need to resign or making those decisions. And the government does not hold like a seat on the board of directors or any other voting rights, but that's the voting rights. Like somebody like the president can move markets. So it's like now that you have a 10% shareholder that can use the power of this and messaging to crater you down or whatever means that you have a lot more power, certainly more power than you would have if you just had a lot of voting rights. That's the ultimate power. And of course you got Howard Lutnick right here just cheesing about this deal. A historic agreement that strengthens our leadership in semiconductors, which will grow our economy and help secure our technological edge. Okay, but what happens when the next technological edge needs to be, I don't know, maybe some type of military manufacturer? Kind of like the US government has been subsidizing companies like Boeing, for example. A company essentially becomes too big to fail. Then they can make every mistake in the book, cost tons of American lives. But if it's too big to fail, if you're invested in it, if this is your company, if this is your horse, it just sets a very dangerous precedent. And it's like, let's say that Gavin Newsom was the president. Oh man. Wouldn't they have the right to say the same thing? Oh, we have to invest in this thing. We have to invest in this real estate developer because there's not enough houses for all of the migrants. Who knows? But this, like so many other indicators, is why Donnie, in so many words, is actually almost more dangerous than somebody on the left, because everybody just kind of tends to agree with it because it's him, because they like other things about him, his personality, the other things that he represents. So he can essentially get away with a lot of things that a person that was a left-leaning, a Democrat or whatever, Kamala Harris, nobody would ever have allowed these things. It's like, oh, we're going to send more weapons to the Ukraine. Oh, well, it's Donnie. Okay. And it's so annoying even making videos like this, being a person that's in my position, creating content on social media, because you already know that 50% of the potential audience hates it because you're on the right, generally, whatever. But then you have 50% of that cohort being like, oh, what do you hate, Donnie now? This is the weird pickle that people that believe in all of the right-wing values and whatever else and like Donnie most of the time, it's like if he does one thing that's bad and you dare to say anything about it, it's like people just freak out. What do you want to just give them the money for free? No, did you watch the video? Did you listen to what I said? Of course not, but that's why it makes videos like this. It's like, it's not even fruitful to your average creator. It's like you already know that such a huge chunk of people are gonna hate it because you dared to say anything about your supposed team or side, completely ignoring the broader point and how this exact same thing could be used when someone that you don't like is in power. But who cares about that and stuff?